New Orleans Saints DC Brandon Staley on coaching with Kellen Moore and defensive scheme. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time we have heard from or seen Brandon Staley since he was named defensive coordinator for the Saints. And let me tell you this right here. This is what you want to see. Look at this face. Look at this dome. This is a man who has seen the devil. This is a man right here. You only see someone look like this after, war, rehab, doing hard time, okay? Physical labor camps. I don't even know. This is a guy who has hit rock bottom and bouncing all the way to the top. This is a guy who's focused on defense and defense only. Look at him. This is him when he was the head coach of the Chargers. First 24 hours with new head coach Brandon Staley. Young, vibrant. Shirt is starched out of its mind. This shirt couldn't wrinkle if it wanted to. Head full of hair. Look at him. Happy, smiling, taking selfies. This is a guy who thinks, no big deal. I've got this. Everything's easy. I don't have to work that hard. I don't have to do this much. Life is full of butterfly and rainbows. Look at this. Take a picture with your brain. Look at this hombre right here. And look at this hombre right here. Christ. I love it.
He's the total package. And
Lex Luger?
I think he's a winner. I think you go back as a coach's son and playing at boy.
The total package Lex Luger? By the way, if you don't get that reference, you must not have watched WCW in the 90s. And if you didn't, perfect time to say this. I am doing a full WCW rewatch. Every Nitro, every pay-per-view, every Thunder over on my wrestling channel. Go subscribe. The first episode is out now. And the second episode will be out on Monday. And then the next episode will be out the following Monday. And then so on and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, get involved over there. Is there anything I can't do? Wrestling, Saints, NFL, gaming. That's right. We just started our third gaming walkthrough, playthrough, whatever of the year. First, we did Call of Duty. Then we did GoldenEye. And up next, my favorite gaming franchise of all time, the first, Mass Effect. So go check that out. First episode is releasing on March 11th. I'm not sure when this video will go out, but March 11th, 7 p.m. I think is the first. I'm dominating so many different arenas. I can't even keep up with all of the content. Jesus. 7 p.m. March 11th, I think, is the first episode of the Mass Effect playthrough. BioShock, another great game. All right, let's get back to Staley.
Boise and him playing in the NFL and what he's done as a coach in the NFL. I've had to compete against him a lot. We've coached together, and then to see what he did this year with Philly was just really special, not surprising. And then when you're talking about New Orleans with the Saints and what Mickey has helped build here, and Mrs. Benson, Mr. Benson, what they mean to the NFL, and in my time in coaching, I mean, the Saints have been one of the premier teams in the league for almost 2 decades. So
Saints fans tend to forget that.
I know how important football is to the city, to the state, and I'm just really excited to be a part of it.
I said it when he got hired. I said it before he got hired when it was just a rumor. But I am thrilled that Brandon Staley is the DC. I think this is just such a great hire. Young, innovative, chip on his shoulder, former head coach experience, outside of the building, new ideas, completely different scheme. He's going to be a 3-4, been a 4-3 for decades. I mean, this is just one of those things where it could not have worked out better. I love the fact that we have the youngest coaching staff in NFL history. I'm rooting for this guy. I love that we got him after a failure as a head coach, going back to what he knows best, defense, being a DC. He gets a chance to rebuild the roster. He gets a chance to bring in players he wants. I mean, I'm rooting hard for Brandon Staley.
Brandon, I know it's pretty early, but have you made a definitive call on 3-4-4-3, or do you just evaluate the personnel, or how do you go about it?
So he asked, I don't know if you can hear it. He was kind of quiet because he was 14 feet behind Brandon Staley, but he asked if you made a definitive call on 4-3 or 3-4. We know it's going to be a 3-4. I mean, it's not only is Brandon Staley a disciple of Vic Fangio, and so his systems are going to be similar to Vic Fangio, but Kellen Moore bringing him in after just working with Vic Fangio to great success. Like, it's obviously going to be I'm not saying he's going to do a direct replica of that system, but that's definitely going to be the foundation.
You just said it. We're at the beginning, and so much of how you're going to play is the type of personnel that you're going to be coaching. So we're at the beginning of that here with, free agency and the draft process, and we've got a core group that's going to be coming back. But until that group is out there on the field in the springtime, I don't think we're truly going to know.
I mean, that part is true too, and well said. Where eventually we will be running the 3-4 Fangio / Saban system, whatever. But if you don't have the personnel, you can't just do it because you want to do it. Like if we don't have the personnel to run that, we're not going to run that as our base. I think that's what we want to get to. Free agency, the draft are all incredibly important for that, and we'll see if those pieces come together. But well said by Staley.
We're going to try and be flexible enough to be able to defend all the different types of offenses that you have to play against. And we want to be specific in the matchup. We want to make sure that we go into every game with a plan to win.
Good.
But a lot of what we're going to do is centered on who this group of guys will be coaching.
I think Kellen said it really doesn't, matter what the basis because you end up in some of the sub packages anyway.
That's right. Yeah, it's a 3-receiver league, and you've got to be able to match up in 5 defensive backs. That's what you play 70+% of the time now, and I think the different versions of 5 DBs is kind of what can give you an advantage, but that's where the game is now, and it's always been a matchup game. Now you're just matching up against 3 receivers.
You mentioned the personnel and how important it is to acquire somebody like a Gacho that you can plug in on the offensive line. How much maybe does that help?
All right, so the question, I didn't realize this was so recent. The question was about acquiring Gacho from the Patriots. We covered that briefly. 7th round pick traded for a 30-year-old defensive tackle who doesn't do much. I would assume at best he's a rotational player. This is an interesting question for Staley because it's like, what the hell do I say here? I can't sit here and say the guy is going to be the anchor of our defense, but also can't say he's not. So this will be an interesting one to see how he navigates.
Well, it starts up front with any defense you play, no matter what scheme you play. You got to start the game inside out.
Yeah.
And so, we believe in that. And so, as many, versatile defensive linemen we can join.
I believe in that as well. And a way I would kind of Skrmetta for it is the idea of your defensive line is your starting pitcher. You want that to be your consistent day in, day out, week in, week out, set the tone, whatever. And you want your defensive backs to kind of be your bullpen, where there's a little more volatility there because you never know the matchup. You never know what the game state's going to be. You never know, one of them might just get burnt. It happens all the time, just like closers give up home runs. So I definitely agree. You want to build inside out versus, solidifying your safeties and then your cornerbacks and then trying to figure it out on the defensive line. So
that's going to give us an advantage, and it starts in the run game and allows you the opportunity to rush the passer. But with all the runners in this league right now, you better start there.
Yeah.
I know too much is probably made of 4-3 versus 3-4, but what is one or two of the core principles of the 3-4 that has made that your sort of preferred base?
All right, that was old Mike Triplett asking about what are some of the principles of the 3-4 that has made it the base that Staley has operated with for a majority of his coaching career.
I think it gives you more flexibility in how you play. But hey, edge players play on the edge no matter what system you play in. Yeah. Inside players play on the inside no matter what system you play in. So, I think that you have to have versatility in your personnel groupings in the modern NFL. It's so much of a matchup league, and if you can have some hybrid groupings that kind of give you a chance to have that flexibility week to week, I think that's important. I know Kellen's probably talked about that because it's the same way on offense. You may have 11 personnel grouping on offense, but who those people are and how you play them, it's going to be different. So, we just want to make sure we can go into any game and be able to match up.
When you worked with Kellen, did you learn some things about him that you couldn't have known prior to that?
Yeah, I think anytime you spend that much time together.
Yeah, obviously, if you work with somebody, you're going to learn stuff that you wouldn't know if you didn't work with them.
There.
Also, I like the matchup answer because it shows that you're breaking things down on a very micro level. I like that. I don't like the idea of just like, this is who we are, this is how we play, we're going to do this every week, and I hope we win. I like the idea of taking every game as its own individual chessboard. And I like taking every down, every possession as its own individual chess match. Like we see Sean McVay do that all the time. Where Sean McVay is so good at seeing the game play out, making chess moves, moving stuff around, changing a strategy, changing a scheme, sticking to something if it's working, getting away from it if it doesn't. And like the coaches that don't do that in today's NFL, it's just they're really behind the eight ball. So the fact that this is how we're going to be on offense and defense is fantastic.
You learn so much. And in the NFL, I don't think you truly learn about people till you're in the fire together and you play in these big games and you go through these situations together. And I know how much he helped me in our time together. I know what's important to him from a teaching standpoint, as a competitor, coaching a team, the way he believes in playing. But I think, the thing about Kellen is his flexibility. You're not going to find, very many guys who are as sharp as he is, but also have this flexibility. And whoever I coach, whoever that group is, I can go coach that group and give it a great chance to be successful. And I've always been impressed with that. And so, I love who he is as a person. I believe in him and just so happy for him. And, I'm just excited to team up together again.
Is that kind of an awkward adjustment at all? Like 2 years ago, you were the head coach and he was the offensive coordinator. He's the head coach. And is that kind of just weird to make that shift at all? Oh,
not at all. I mean, we're all teammates. I don't care if you're the head coach or a coordinator or a position coach. You're all in it together. I believe in, his vision for leading a football team. So when he reached out to me and talked about how he wants to lead this football team, a lot of it was similar to when we were working together. But now he gets to do it, his way. And I believe in him and that way as much as anything.
I'll tell you this. It might be the hopium, it might be the copium, I might be drinking the Kool-Aid, I don't know, but I just find it difficult to believe that Brandon Staley and Kellen Moore are going to fail. I really do. I mean, I truly believe that we are on, and this is kind of why I get frustrated when people are like, yeah, but how many games are going to we win next year? It's like, brother, you got to look further. Like, you got to have some kind of a long-term approach to this. Who cares about how many games we win next year if we're building something for the future? I don't really care if we win 10 games next year. If I see progress and I see us filling this roster up and I see us getting off of bad contracts and I see on the field the concepts and the design and I like what Kellen's doing and Brandon Staley's doing and, I don't care about next year. So I'm all in on this team and this vision and this identity that these coaches have. I'm all in for years to come. I don't go week by week. I don't go year by year. This has nothing to do with Derek Carr or Cam Jordan or Demario Davis or Tyrann Mathieu or any of these guys. It's bigger than an individual player. It's bigger than a stretch of games next year. It's bigger than any of that stuff. It's more about, what the Saints are going to become, what we're going to watch over the next 10 years.
Your experience as a head coach helped guide him through this first season?
Yeah, it will. Yes.
I think anytime you can join up with people who have experienced something, it's going to give you an advantage, but especially if you know that person.
Yeah.
So I'll be able to help him where he needs it. I think we're very fortunate in this organization, with Mickey and his group, a very experienced, front office. And then this coaching staff. I mean, you look at the staff that he's been able to put together. I think there's a lot of really complementary experiences, but the fact that we've worked together, hopefully it gives us a better starting point.
Yeah, I love it.
Kellen's vision. I don't want to put you on the spot, but what is your vision? You got a lot of veteran players, Cam, Demario, Tyrann. Have you talked to them? And do you kind of, when you were talking with Kellen, lay out a vision of how these pieces work for you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think based on that initial group, I've got so much respect for, the Cam Jordans of the world and Demario, Tyrann. And these guys have accomplished so much, and they're proven players, proven leaders. I know how much they've meant to this team, and so It's been great to talk with those guys, to learn about them. You know, from the outside, you respect them, you kind of know their game, but to know them personally, you know, that's where the real magic is to team up with these guys to create something new. But we're at the beginning, and there's a lot of work to do.
I'm all in, man. I really love what Staley just said here. Fantastic press conference, fantastic couple of questions there. I mean, love the guy like a brother. I'm so excited for this damn team. I'm so excited for this damn franchise. Like, we are really going in the right direction. I feel it in my plums, ladies and gentlemen. Get on down in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this. I will see you in the next video.